Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I am personally very excited about. I'm going to be speaking about NFTs. And I know that everybody's been hearing about NFTs. There's been a lot of hype, there's been a lot of content out there, but I wanted to create this video to kind of share my own knowledge on this space, having looked at it for a while and having done quite a bit of research and reading about it, and also do it in a way that demystifies a little bit this space and crypto. I think that what I found when I was at the start of researching the NFT space and the Web3 space overall is that there was a lot of jargon. It was really cryptic and it was a little bit overwhelming. So I intended for this video to be, in a way, one that will help you navigate this journey a little bit if it's one that you want to build some awareness on. And the most important thing I want to share here is that by no mean or no stretch is this a video around giving you financial advice about asking you to invest or buy or trade or even get into this space. This is merely about me sharing something that I'm very excited about. And because when I started talking about NFTs and when I posted on NFTs some time back, I noticed a couple of things. One is that there is a little bit of a misconstrued or sometimes misinformed understanding of the NFT space and what it is and the technology itself. And on the other hand, I received a lot of DMs and a lot of requests from my followers, especially women who follow me, who wanted to know more. And so I thought, let me put this video out there and share my perspective. And of course, this is all based on my own conviction, based on what I have read, my hypothesis. So I don't see the future and none of this is guaranteed. And what I would ask is that you do your own research. There is a wealth of information out there. YouTube is an amazing platform where you can find a lot of information about NFTs, about Web3, about this entire space from credible sources who are known out there. You could go to Twitter. That's where the bulk of the conversation around NFTs is happening. And also you can do a lot of reading about it, speak to people who are in this space and form your own opinion. I think what is a little bit perhaps making me create this video is that I'm finding that a lot of opinions are just mimicking existing opinions as opposed to really understanding the really principle of NFTs, what the technology is about. And then one is obviously free to make their own assumptions and make their own opinions. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a personal story about how my journey started around the space of NFTs in general. I, started hearing about the technology, about this entire space, and I got curious. So I started doing some research, doing some readings. It was a bit overwhelming at the beginning, and there were many things that I could not understand and I could not relate to. And my co-founder Hajar and I started talking about this space. We tried to buy NFTs. We tried to navigate the entire space, where to find NFTs, how to buy them, how to assess what project makes sense or what NFTs are the right ones to buy, how to create a wallet. And I'm going to explain all of these terms afterwards to you. But as we were going through this journey, we realized that it actually was not as easy as some people make it to be. It actually is a little bit of an inundating space, and we felt that it is so important, especially for us women, to understand it. There's a difference between acquiring knowledge, getting educated, and really understanding a technology that, in our opinion, is going to change the world and change the way we interact, and making a decision to get into it, whether as an entrepreneur, as a business, or just as someone who buys an NFT, whether you want to trade it or whether you want to keep it and guard it as a collectible. And what we found is that there is a barrier to entry for us women. We don't have these conversations amongst each other. We don't have exchanges about what cryptocurrency to buy, what stock is performing well, which NFT project we should invest in. With that, I think our frustration started building around the fact that here comes another wave of interesting technology that as women we can be participants in at the very start, at the very beginning. It's still a green space. We could create a lot of success, we could create a lot of shared value, and yet there are barriers that are kind of not allowing us to easily navigate this space. What we then thought is, you know what, it's so important for us to start talking about this space, to break these barriers, and actually to allow as many women as possible to understand this space, understand that it can be made easy, create the awareness, and then allow them to make a decision on whether they're interested or not. So it's really that passion and that frustration also of just sitting on the sidelines and watching yet another wave of technology come by where many women don't participate just because the knowledge is not necessarily shared, the conversations are not being had, or we just feel that it's not a space for us. And so it was this frustration and maybe the rebel in us, maybe the enablers in us who wanted to create a project. Yes, we are working on launching something in this space and we will tell you all about it very, very soon. But create an initiative that has in its core that desire and that passion to break the barriers for women to get into the space, to understand this space, to enable them to create the right awareness, to make understanding this space easier for women, and then ultimately get into the space if they feel ready and willing and they feel excited about it or not. But as long as we break all the barriers to entry to this space and to understanding it. Now I'll get to the NFTs and explaining what they are, but what I want to say to begin with is that it's so important to keep a very open mind about what NFTs are. I think one of the most common things that I came across is that a lot of people think NFTs are a JPEG or a digital art that you buy and that you own, but really that is the simplest and most basic usage of the NFT technology. And really, I keep talking about technology because when I started understanding it from that perspective, it really made all the difference in the way I perceived it. And in the same way that we could not envisage what the internet usage was going to be when it first came about in the 90s, and at the outset we thought it was maybe a directory of companies and just websites of companies. Today, what we see internet doing by powering our lives, by powering our phones, by enabling us to connect to people and see them from across the globe, probably no one, maybe some people, but a lot of people did not envisage that that's what the internet is going to be used as down the line. And that's what I liken NFT technology to today. I think that a lot of people think about it as that image or JPEG or art or clip that you now own, or a digital asset that you own. But the reality is that the usage of it in 10 years' time is going to be so different. And I think that human beings with their abilities, with their creativity, are going to truly change the way we interact with each other and change the way we live our lives by utilizing this technology in many different ways and shapes and forms. And before I get into the thick of things, I want to say that this is a first of a few videos that I'm going to make on NFTs. I feel that the topic is quite broad and there's so much that we can talk about, and I wanted to keep this a little bit tight, and then we can talk about so many other things relating to NFTs. I even feel that I want to create a video showing you exactly how you buy an NFT, where to find the projects, how to open a wallet, and everything in between. But for now, I'm just sharing a little bit of what this space is about, what is an NFT, what is the hype about, and I do relay my excitement, but I do want you to exercise caution when you're listening to me and take it in a neutral way. Do your own research, as I said earlier, and just understand that whilst there's so much good from my perspective and many other people's perspective in this space, there is also the negative. There are people that are in this space for the wrong reason. There are people who are hyping this space to make a quick buck. There are scammers in this space. So when it comes to even making a decision to invest, I would say do a lot of learning before you put money anywhere. And if you ever invest, just understand, as is the case in any form of investment, if you can't afford to lose the money, do not invest. So in order to understand the NFTs, I want to talk a little bit about the blockchain. And I'm no expert in the blockchain, but I want to touch on an area that actually relates to the NFTs. So the blockchain is this technology that does a little bit of the work that banks do. So imagine when you do a transaction between two individuals or two entities, one bank has to verify one side of the transaction, and another bank that receives the money has to do the verification on their end. So it's these two entities or these two banks that verify this transaction. On the blockchain, what happens is when two entities are doing a transaction through digital currency and digital asset, what happens is that this transaction gets verified by millions of computers on the blockchain. And so rather than just two entities or two digital banks verifying this transaction, and tens of millions of computers are all saying this transaction is correct, this is verified, this is true, this asset is correct, this cryptocurrency is correct, there is enough money to buy this asset, and so on. And because it's millions of computers and hence it's called decentralized, not centralized, then it is transparent, it is public, and it is not replicable. So let me give you a simple example to illustrate it. In the real life, say that there's an author, let's call her Sam, and Sam signed a book and wants to sell it. And then there is you want to buy that book. So Sam is offering that book for $5. Now you want to buy it, you're sending or you're making a transaction. Your bank basically checks that you've got $5 after you've asked them to make that transaction. They transfer the money and verify that transaction to Sam's bank account. They reduce your balance by $5. Now Sam's bank account basically receives that money and adds it to the balance of Sam. So now the transaction is verified between the two bank accounts, or the two banks rather, and it is verified. In the same way, on the blockchain, you can buy Sam's digital book by transferring money, cryptocurrency, so the like of Bitcoin and Ethereum, from your digital wallet, which is the equivalent of your bank account, to Sam's digital wallet. And the blockchain will verify that you have enough cryptocurrency to buy Sam's digital book, and that Sam actually has in her wallet, her bank account, the book that she's actually promised you, the original, true, verified one. And then the transaction takes place, and that transaction is recorded on the blockchain and lives there forever. So now, how does this relate to NFTs? It relates to them because Sam's digital book is an NFT, non-fungible token. So what is an NFT? NFT stands for non-fungible token. And I have to admit, I had never heard the word fungible before, and I don't understand why we couldn't have used a better word. Maybe it's the best word, but anyway. Point is, it's non-fungible. And what non-fungible means is that it's not replaceable, it's not replicable, you cannot copy it, you cannot forge it. It is one unique item, one unique token. There is one of it, and so it has a rarity and it has a uniqueness. Actually, that is the right word to describe it. It is unique. And an example of a non-fungible item in real life is Mona Lisa. If you've heard anything about NFTs, you've probably heard this example, but it's the easiest one for us to share. So Mona Lisa, it doesn't matter how many people print copies that are identical to it. It doesn't matter how many people repaint it. There is only one Mona Lisa that is hanging on the Louvre that is drawn by Leonardo da Vinci. So in the past, all digital items, let's say emails, JPEGs, Audio clips, video clips were fungible, they were replicable, which means that if you took a screenshot of an email or if you took a screenshot of a digital image, you have an identical one to the original. But what the blockchain now enabled us to do is to store data in these digital tokens or in these digital items. And what that means is that the JPEG is no longer just an image, it's no longer just the aesthetics and whatever is on that JPEG. There's actually stored some data such as who owns it, so it has the details of the owner. It also has some other properties and other data that is relevant to this particular image. And therefore, no matter how many screenshots or how many recordings you take of this digital asset, because it is a non-fungible token, because it has data stored in it, you cannot replicate it. You can only take an image or a screenshot of the image, but really the ownership and the utility or the properties that are in there, you cannot replicate that and you cannot own that. And so in essence, the NFT is a digital asset that you can buy, and once you buy it, it's recorded on the blockchain with the fact that you are the owner, with all the properties and all the data that's in it. If you decide to sell it, then that transaction is also recorded on the blockchain, and the new ownership is now recorded on the blockchain, and the sequence of trading thereafter from one person to the other continues to be captured and all recorded and exists in the blockchain. So you may be wondering, why would people pay money and sometimes huge amounts to buy digital assets? Well, to understand that, we have to understand human psychology. And really, forever and a day, human beings bought art, fashion, collectibles that were at very high prices because they linked them to certain emotion, because they had certain meaning, because they indicated certain value or certain characteristics, and because they had certain attributes that made them valuable. And so owning that asset or owning that product indicated something about the owner, whether it is their sense of style or the way they think or their elevated aesthetics or that they are art aficionados, whatever that may be. But the same underlying reasons for people to have both art and fashion and collectibles in the past are the reasons why people today are buying NFTs. So let's talk a little bit about NFTs that have utility to them. And I'm talking about this because personally, I'm so excited about this particular space. And I'm going to digress a little bit to tell you a little story about me and why I came to love this space. But bear with me because it'll make sense at the end. But before I go to that, NFTs that have utility to them have been used to create value to communities. And we've seen some great examples of that. World of Women have done that. Bored Ape Yacht Club are doing that. So it's a way to, you create a collection of NFTs and community members buy it, and there's a utility that unlocks when you buy the NFT and you start creating value to that NFT. I'm going to explain all of this much better, but just allow me to tell you a little bit my story and why I'm excited about this space. So for those of you who know me or have been following me for a while, you know that after a journey of about 15 years in private equity, I decided to start my own business, and I launched The Modist in 2017 on International Women's Day. And I created The Modist because I wanted to address a woman who was frustrated, who was stereotyped, and who was alienated in the space of fashion, the modest dresser, and I was one. So I wanted fashion, I wanted the latest trends, but I wanted to dress in a demure and in a more covered up way. And so I created a business that authentically catered to this woman. And because of that authenticity, because of the realness, because of living values and understanding this woman, we harnessed an incredible community of women who honestly have been just incredible in terms of supporting the brand and talking about the brand and being the brand's evangelists in general. What was incredible to me after closing The Modist is that the community responded in a way that I could not even imagine. Their response their support, the way they reached out to us, and the way that they continue to send us messages until today. I can't talk about this part without getting emotional. The way the community continued to be supportive to the Modist, towards me, has really shown me and shown us the magic of a real authentic community. And because of that, because of the power that a community has, because of the power of what a community can do when they love a brand, when they agree on something, when they decide to conquer something, when they decide to achieve something, just seeing that magic just made me feel that there is so much that one can do with one's community, and that when you actually harness something like this, it is the biggest loss not to go back and not to give back and not to create value for this community that had supported you. And it's because of this, and it's because of these emotions that I have towards our community, and that my co-founder, who also was with me at the Modist, Hajar, feels towards the community. It is for this particular reason that we have been working so hard on something that we are so excited about, that has the community in its core. Now let's go back to the NFT part. So without getting into too much detail, because an announcement is coming soon, and that's where we will tell you all about what we have been working on very, very soon. I want to say that the way that some projects, as I mentioned before, have created values to their community is as follows. A creator would basically create a collection of NFTs. That creator can be a group of founders, it could be an artist, it could be, anyone. And they create a collection of NFTs, say 10,000 NFTs, that have a certain theme, that have a certain mission, that has a certain purpose or a certain cause that they really believe in, that they want to kind of pursue or achieve. And there are certain values that are attached to this higher cause that the collection has been created for. And so people who believe in these creators, people who believe in this cause, people who trust the creators, who believe in the authenticity of what they are doing, and who share the values that this collection is about, who maybe get excited about what these creators are promising to do, can buy these NFTs. And once these NFTs have been sold, the individuals who own them will have access to a private space. That space is called the Discord. So imagine a Discord like a big WhatsApp group, and nobody can get in unless they have that NFT. In that Discord, all the conversations about the mission, about the cause, about where this project is going, conversations around the community, conversations around anything that the community wants to exchange are happening together with the creators of this collection. And within this Discord, the creators start offering benefits that are attached to the NFTs. And this is where the utility aspect comes in. Now, those utilities can be anything. Now, I say all of this with the caveat that some collections will do really, really well and will really benefit their owners, and the NFT value goes really high. So these owners of NFTs can sell them and make a lot of money, or can continue to own them because they're getting a lot of benefit by holding these NFTs. And on the other hand, there are many NFT projects that have plummeted and have not done well. So really, this is not about giving you a rosy picture of this space. It's about telling you what the possibilities are. And of course, it's for you to make the right judgment and follow what you enjoy or what you're passionate about, or not get into this space at all. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this video here. I tried to make it as simple as possible, and I can tell you from experience that if it feels confusing, then trust me, it is so normal. It's such a new space, and the concept is in a way that requires you to kind of like think it through and read more and get exposed more before I think you can wrap your head around it. And what I'll do is I'm going to create more videos for you, and maybe in the next ones I would speak about where to find NFTs and how to buy NFTs, and give you some examples, and how to create a digital wallet, and all of these steps that again can be inundating and overwhelming. And if you have any specific questions, or you want to know anything in particular about NFTs, by all means, please message me. Please, put your questions in the comment in my Instagram page, DM me, just let me know. And I'd love to create content that answers your questions.